Hello.
Hi, Kenan. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
Nice to meet you.
Great to meet you as well.
Yes.
All right. You can hear me okay? There's no echoes
Oh,
or
yeah.
anything?
No, everything's good. And me too?
Yes, yes, I hear you perfectly. Perfectly. Okay, take your mind into the wonderful world of physical, emotional, psychological, and spiritual wellness. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Kinetic Hour. Conversations with you and guests with your host, Kenan Wesley Mason.
And so I ask you today to think about your life and how you view your life. The most important thing about this shift in consciousness is starting to realize that we don't know everything. That is the first, our way that we thought life was, and we had fixed it there, starts to break apart. And as we're changing our way of viewing the earth, we can't change that without allowing ourselves the ability to know that we have something new to learn. So I ask you to look at, what do you have to learn new this week? What is it? What is coming new to you? A new belief system, a new way of looking at a relationship, a new way of taking care of yourself. I just think this is profoundly important as we maneuver our way through this shift.
All right, good morning, good afternoon, and good
Hi,
evening, and
Karen.
welcome to another
Thank
edition of the Kinetic Hour. I am your host, Kenan Wesley Mason. Welcome one, welcome all to another edition as we are streaming live once again, simulcasting on Facebook, simulcasting live on Instagram, and simulcasting live on LinkedIn. So, welcome to all three platforms. As always, go to my YouTube channels and my Rumble channel. It is the Kinetic Hour, and that is KENNETIC, the Kinetic Hour, and also Kinetic Fit and Wellness Info, Kinetic Fit and Wellness Info for physical health, emotional health, spiritual health, psychological health, and everything in between. So thank you all for tuning in. As always, whether it's one person or 1,000 people watching, my voice will continue to permeate. So I thank you all for tuning in. It's always great to have you all, and welcome to all the new subscribers as well. And as you can see on the side of me, my guest, and I'm glad she's here, and I'm looking forward to the conversation. She's a certified health and wellness coach and health educator. She had an 11-year career at Georgetown University in their medical center and nursing school, conducting childbirth education and working with midwives. She also has certifications for polarity healing, reflexology, and reconnective healing. In 2017, she graduated from the Institute of Integrative Nutrition as an integrative health coach. She's the founder of A Wellness Revolution, an educational program for training and certifying health and wellness coaches worldwide. And she's also the author of Your Creator Matrix: How to Use Optimal Wellness and Quantum Healing, to master your story and create your reality. And once again, I'm glad she's here. Please welcome to the Kinetic Hour, Cathleen Beerkens.
Thank you.
Kathleen,
Hi, Kenan. How are you?
I'm
Nice to be
great.
here.
And
Lovely.
welcome, yes,
Thank
welcome to the
you.
Kinetic Hour. And thank you for taking the time out
Of
to
course.
grace the stage with me here, as you are in the Netherlands. Is that correct?
Yes, I married a Dutchman many years ago, and it brought me across the seas. But I have a
Yes.
son who's a doctor in New York, so I'm always I have my family in America, so it'll always be my home.
Back and forth, huh?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
So, so I want to thank everyone for staying up a little later because it's evening time where you are. I think it's about a 9-hour time difference. So, so thank you for taking the extra time to be here. Um,
I'm used to this, Kenan.
okay, okay. um, so, and I have a lot of notes here, and I went came across your bio and your website as well, and your book, which we'll be highlighting for the most part, and then we'll go into some other things as well. But the first thing I want to do is just start from the beginning. How did you go into, or what was it that made you decide to go into health education, and more specifically holistic health education? What made you pursue that specifically?
That's such a good question. And I always think about it, and in because it is a big deal what happened. Our stories matter. And I was from a family of a lot of doctors, and my grandfather was a doctor. My father had a PhD in chemistry. There were teachers. They were very intellectual type people, and we believed in the system. We were very much in the system. Although when I started doing research on my great 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 grandmother, I found out that this pioneering spirit was in the genes anyway. So
Mm,
I didn't know what I had in me. You're just who you are when you're young. And I also think when I was really young, I didn't always feel that I belonged here. There was a kind of like, wow, this place is really heavy. There were so many things we were involved in because my mother was a civil rights activist, and my parents actually, but my mother worked with Martin Luther King and Cesar Chavez. So I had like my whole life when I was a child was in this kind of rebellion against the mainstream, but yet we were mainstream. So it's hard to imagine this. But in the
yeah.
end, I became a nurse in a mainstream hospital with, believed in it, did my work, and I really wanted to care for people, but I was so shocked at what I saw there. I saw so many sick people, and I was young and they had no idea they were sick. So I thought to myself, first of all, that was just a question, like how can we live in a world where people are so disconnected from what's really going on in their bodies, minds, and spirit? They're just so disconnected. So that's what I observed. And I
Right.
didn't know, and I really couldn't help them too much. Like as a nurse, we have to really work with so many patients and the doctors and so much stress and very sick patients.
Yeah.
And they would leave the hospital, and then I would always wonder, how are they going to do with their health journey? Because it wasn't really a health journey. It was an illness journey.
Mm,
And I thought to myself, why is our system just focused on the illness? Why don't we have a system where we keep people well? This is really bothering me. So when I left nursing and I was teaching in the university and I was doing a lot of things like that, I was totally burnt out. By the way, we don't take care of ourselves in those situations because they don't teach us to. That's not important. You just
yeah.
kind of survive the 18-hour shifts.
Yeah.
And I know that this is talked about a lot since COVID, right? How hard it was for the doctors and nurses. But I have a son at Mount Sinai, so I know what he's going through.
Hmm.
I don't really, he's a fellow now in cardiology, but it's just so rigorous, the whole thing. And it doesn't make sense. We don't have a healthcare system. We have an illness system. So we need to change this because we create from our thoughts, right? Our reality. So
Hmm.
I started to ask questions when I left my work, and I had to recover. And I also had a sick child, and I was taking my son to the John Hopkins and all other places, and he wasn't getting better. I was so frustrated. The system was not working for him. And it got worse and worse and worse, and the stress built. And so I had a lot of lessons. And the first lesson was that maybe he needed something else. And maybe I did too. And I didn't open to that easily. I had to be I had many years where I wasn't open, and then suddenly you're so desperate. I hope you can imagine, Ken, you're just getting desperate when you see your child like not able to breathe and their system. It's
Absolutely.
so frustrating. So I then found a cranial osteopath through somebody that I knew who said to me, "Oh, I took my son, and he said that when a child is born of C-section, their head doesn't mold in the birth canal, and they can have a lot of health problems." And that's true with my son. It was right from birth. And so I went and explored this, and I thought, well, it's worth a try. I'm not going to lose anything. After 2 treatments, he was so much better. It was
Mm.
crazy. So
Hmm.
so then I had to rethink everything I learned. Can you imagine? I had
Right.
to go and
Right.
say, "How did that work?" Like, all he did was touch his head. I don't get it.
Hmm.
I think
Hmm. Hmm.
I haven't really learned some things that I need to learn. If this is if this is really helping, and it really helped.
Yeah.
And then I started on my journey, and I went into Ayurvedic medicine, and I got better because I was really burnt out and so postpartum not good after he was so sick. So I was really on a journey myself, and I learned to meditate, and I learned to take care of myself where I had never done that before. And I started seeing the changes in myself. And I tell about this in my book because I met so many people along my path that helped me, and I started researching, and I really became a researcher. And I
Yeah.
started studying, and I started realizing that I had a gift to help people heal. And I don't like to call myself a healer because I feel that people should heal themselves now. And that's where I'm going. I'm going to actually have a course next year about that, self healing, because I believe we have to know how to do that. We have
Yeah.
to learn how to work with our energy, we can do so much. But I had to learn it. And I think we haven't been taught it. And I think society has to learn it now.
Yeah. I'm with you 100%. Um, After a little over 2 decades for me now, um, having to relearn everything, literally have to relearn everything
Yes.
from all the stuff that I was taught in health class, all the stuff in junior high and high school, all the stuff that I was taught about biology, uh,
Yes.
standard health, the
Yeah.
4 basic food groups, you name it. Once I started going into natural health, I was like, holy crap, I didn't know all this was available, you know?
Yeah.
And
Yes.
then and then I got introduced to Reiki, and when I was in school for massage therapy. And you know, when you talk about health care, a healthcare system, because that's what it is, a quote healthcare system.
No.
When like what you just said, we don't live in a quote healthcare system because the majority of people here in America, at least, and you know this because you're from here. The majority of people here in America, you name the disease, somebody has it.
Oh, yeah. That's true.
Somebody has it.
And it's
So
like that here too, Ken, in
okay,
Europe also.
okay,
It's everywhere the same, I tell you.
yes. And I've interviewed a couple of people. I interviewed a physician in Scotland. Same thing.
Yeah.
Same
Yeah.
thing. I interviewed a couple of people in Dubai. Same thing. So this is a global epidemic, uh, and we do live in what we call a quote illness or sick care system, because the majority of people for generations have remained sick. You know, when you hear people say, "Oh, it runs in the family,"
Exactly.
nothing has to run in the family.
No.
And so I say that to segue into here because you have a few things that I want to talk about specifically. You first talked about how you got into this and how your family were in the health field, and you know your father and other family members. So when we talk about what's called epigenetics,
Yeah.
can you explain what epigenetics is and how it relates to our life patterns or behavior patterns, and and how we can use that to our advantage to say, you know what, I don't really like going down this path. I need to make some changes. So can you explain specifically what epigenetics is and how we can use it to our advantage?
Yeah, so I have my book here,
Yes.
and my sister, she made illustrations.
Okay.
So they're magic realistic illustrations.
Yeah.
And this is the idea of epigenetics. So the idea is we create our reality. So every illustration has a book because we're writing our story on both the subconscious and the conscious level all the time. But here you
Right.
can see our DNA, right?
Hmm.
And the thing is, we think our DNA is always going to be how it is, and it is just what it is. You get what you get. You got
Right.
diabetes, it's going to manifest. But that's not true. You see the hands.
Yeah.
We are actually in control of what's happening. Epigenetics means above genetics. And actually, the reality of science is showing us that that is far more powerful. That determines our thoughts, our beliefs. And I mean, our thoughts and beliefs are very powerful. If we're
Yeah.
afraid of disease and we're always thinking we're going to get sick and da, 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 that's
Right.
in the subconscious, that is going to manifest. Why do you think COVID was a disaster? Every day, everybody was glued to the television, fearful of
Right.
a terrible disease that they had no power over. So
That's
that's
right.
not true. Our immune system will respond to our thoughts. So our thoughts and our fears and our belief systems are all tied to our emotions. And
Yeah.
our emotions can actually, through hormones, actually affect our cells
Hmm.
directly.
Hmm.
And so our cells are constantly listening to our thoughts and emotions for how to behave, for what to do. And so that is and it's all scientific. And I explain it in the book. It is science.
Yes.
So the genes, there is a way that our genes get tagged. And it's almost like you could look at genetics or our genes like a DNA, like a library. And
Hmm.
so if you can imagine, you don't go in the library and read every book, right?
Hmm.
You don't.
Hmm.
You pick
Hmm.
it.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's the same.
Yeah.
So we, through our choices, the way we live, the way we feel, we influence the process of which DNA tags will be put on and which genes will be expressed.
Hmm.
And if we're in a very high frequency of light and happiness, and we're and nobody can be in that all the time, but if we're working on ourselves and we're caring for ourselves and we realize it's in our hands, that's really the first step. Like you
Hmm.
said, like you had
Yeah.
to go through it too. But
Yeah.
if we are still, oh, we have no power. Oh, we are we're just going to unfortunately be victims and we're going to get a disease when we get a disease, then that's what the DNA hears.
Right.
And then
That's right.
it's all frequency. So
Yeah.
we're realizing that our whole system that has been based on literally chemistry
Hmm.
is just and physical
Yeah.
chemistry
Yep.
is just like this much. We're missing a huge thing because we put our mental patients with mental issues in another part of the hospital, thinking that
Right.
the mental is not the physical and the physical is not the spiritual, and
Hmm.
there's not connected. That's not true.
Right.
So I'd say we have a creator matrix because we are not just physical beings. We are spiritual beings having a temporary human experience in a body.
Hmm.
And physics of it, which is quantum physics, is
Yeah.
showing us that we are connected to a universal field of energy. Call it God, call it consciousness, call it pure source, or whatever you want to call it, that we are connected to, but we have to connect. If
Yeah.
we don't connect and we don't connect to all parts of us, guess
Hmm.
what?
Hmm.
We
Hmm.
are not powerful.
Yeah.
We are weak
Yeah.
and vulnerable.
And vulnerable. Yeah. And so many people give their power away because we're not given the right
Mm,
information
exactly.
about, we're not given the right information about just some basics. You don't have to have a PhD to learn some basics about how our bodies function. Um, so when you talk about epigenetics, and also, and just for the audience, because some people have heard of these terms before but don't really understand what they mean.
Yeah.
Um, you talk about, and we're going to go deep diving into the book, but I want to, if you could define, you just defined epigenetics, but what is nutrition glycoscience and
Yeah.
glycobiology, and how does that relate to how the human body, um, how does that relate to how the human body uh, interacts with our everyday experience?
Yeah. So this is such a crazy thing, right?
Yeah.
Glycoscience. Nobody knows about it. This is not okay. It is, according to the National Academy of Science, the most important science in the world right now today.
Mm,
And all the major universities, John Hopkins, all of them have a glycoscience department. Go look it up. Why don't we know about it?
right.
Because I will explain, and it's very interesting. So, what it turns out to be that our cells are always communicating. And they're not only communicating with us, they're communicating with each other and everything in their environment. They're a little bit like us. You
Hmm.
know, they're like always, you know, how we're communicating with our eyes and with our ears and with our five senses and other senses. We
Yeah.
are communicating with our environment. So we are made of three macronutrients, proteins, well actually four, but three major ones, proteins, fats, and sugars, believe it or not, and
Hmm.
the sugars that are not sweet. They're called glycans, and there's 8 of them.
Yeah.
And they make up the web of life. They are the internet of our body.
Hmm.
They are crystals. They are crystalline structures on every cell all over the body, trillions and trillions. And they're not so much in our food anymore. We have depleted them from the food. The liver, because they are so important, the liver will make them. But when I heard that cells communicate and that these sugars are responsible for cell communication, I knew the disconnection.
Yeah.
We were not only disconnected from all those parts, like our emotions, our mental part, and our spiritual part, and our physical. It was all disconnected. We were also disconnected from what
Mm.
really connects us at a physical level. And these are these glycans. And these glycans, if you can imagine, are like, imagine that you can't get online. You can't
Mm.
communicate if we didn't have
Yeah.
this ability. Well, the glycans are sort of like the ears, the eyes, the way that our cells can communicate.
Mm.
Isn't
Okay.
that amazing?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
most disease on this planet is caused from a lack of those glycans,
Mm. Hmm.
and nobody knows.
And these are, quote, sugars that the body can actually utilize as energy.
Yeah.
Is okay.
Sugars that are not sweet. The thing is, 2 of them, glucose and galactose, we have too much of, but
Hmm.
we think glucose is sucrose, but that's not true.
Right. Right.
Sucrose is
Right.
the altered form of glucose.
Right.
Glucose in its natural state is like in broccoli and spinach and all our vegetables, right, which we should be eating.
Yeah.
And the other 6 sugars, like, glucosamine, acetyl neurominic acid, mannose from the aloe vera plant, xylose. I can go through them, but they are just not there anymore
Yeah.
because of what we've done to the food. Now, what have we done to the food? We have collectively, I'm not going to blame just the food industry and the pharmacy, and we can't blame anymore, guys. We are part of it. We've allowed all this.
Yeah.
The food industry has been farming, like picking all the crops for years, shipping them far long distances, and
Hmm.
not allowing them to ripen under the sun. And the nutrition, like the glycans, they come like from direct sunlight.
Yeah.
So if you eat food from the supermarket that's been in a warehouse for weeks, you're not getting anything.
Right.
And it
Yeah.
doesn't taste like anything, does it? It's sort of blah.
Right.
Have
Right.
you ever tasted like a like you go to, I don't know, my grandmother used to do, like, she had a garden. And I remember when I was young, I wrote about this in the book. I went and helped her pick all the vegetables. Then I made the food with her. And then I ate it, and it was out of love, right? And then I felt so great. And I remember that I thought at that time, oh my goodness, we should feel this every time we eat.
Mm-hmm.
And we don't feel this.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're asleep. We don't realize that we are made of what we eat. We become what we allow and what we put into our system.
Yeah.
And that's what you realized, right?
Yeah. I mean, I think that's why, well, not even I think, I know that's why today where it's suggested that we do supplementation with our food, because the food, our vegetation is so depleted, because there's no real in the soil has no real
Yes,
mineral
right.
concentration. So if there's no mineral concentration, what are we really eating? We have to eat 10 apples. We have to eat 10 apples instead of the one that we could have eaten 50 years ago. You know?
And this is why it gets me upset too, because when I started doing my research, I started researching that most of the supplements were made from pharmacy also, and they were synthetic, and they were not natural, and they were old. And even if they're natural, they were kind of old food.
Yeah.
So we actually shouldn't be eating supplements unless they're freeze dried or some very special technique. But definitely, with the majority, 90% of all supplements are made with coal tar and petroleum. And we are putting that all in our bodies with the supplements, and the plastic on the outside of the supplement. And we have too many. So when you really think of the things we're allowing in our body, we're not even conscious of. And those things are causing a disconnect in our cell communication because they're toxic. So the more toxins you have in the system, the more also cell communication is impaired. And I talk about that. I show that in the book. So it's not just what you eat. You have to eat the right things, but you also have to realize that you have to clean your body from all the microplastics, from all the heavy metals, from all, like I just interviewed a dentist, and she was sharing with me, in our generation, we were all given like these really like metal fillings.
Yeah.
And apparently I had them taken out, but the way I had them taken out was not okay, because there's a special way to take them out where you don't get them in the whole body. So, and not only that, but like root canals, she told us the danger of all these things that we just don't even think about. And so the thing is, we have meridians, we have energy portals, and these energy portals, our energy system also has to be healthy. So, the bottom line about all the systems, our emotions, our energetic system, our physical system, our all of it, our mental, the more congested and not cleaned out it is, the more kind of it causes an energetic block. And this energetic block then causes a physical illness. So if you have an energetic block here, because it started with the emotion that you couldn't tell your truth, this is a very like a big one here in the throat. And then you start getting sore throats all the time, and you're sick, you get flus all the time, and you think, what's wrong with me? Well, you haven't told your truth because it's stuck. And so it started with the emotion and the mental stress and compression, and then it causes there's a biofield there, and that gets compressed, and then inflammation comes, and all disease is from inflammation. So if you get inflammation in your brain, it's dementia. If you get inflammation in an organ, you get diabetes and all those other things, So it's not difficult to understand, but you have to understand those principles, that we have to clean our body regularly, and we also have to nourish it. And it's not just on the physical level, it's on all those other levels. So what you said, how am I doing? How am I taking my responsibility, taking care of myself, and creating my reality, and realizing that I'm in charge? So I what's showing up in my life is a direct result of my thoughts.
Yes, your thoughts, and then the way you feel about your thoughts,
Yes.
the
Yes.
emotions that come behind the thought.
Yeah.
And it does change the chemistry, because every time you think anything, you're releasing chemistry
Yeah.
accordingly, which
Yeah.
gives you the feeling. And all of this can be. I was just looking at one of my old documentaries called The Living Matrix. I think it came out in 2012. It has Bruce Lipton and all these people in it.
Yeah.
And one of the doctors, Dr. Eric Pearl, he's I guess a reconnective healing specialist.
Yeah. I went to him to learn that
Oh, okay,
years
okay,
ago. Yeah.
yeah. So what we don't realize is that our bodies, and when we look at something called Kirlian photography, for example, how you can literally see the energy that reflects off of all of us, and how all of us have a specific aura or frequency, like you said,
Yes.
and they all are according to the different colors of the light spectrum, according to how we feel in the moment. And again, these are basic things that we think that we only get to see in the movies,
Yeah.
you
Look
know.
at this, Kenan. This is what it looks like. You see that?
Yes, there you go.
That is from the actual Curlin photographer. And
Yes,
this is the biofields around our vegetables when they're fresh. But when
yes,
they're in the warehouses, they don't have that anymore. There's no more light. There's no
that's
more
right.
nutrition. There's no more energetic light nutrition for us, because when we're eating the food, we're not just eating the actual like protein and carbohydrates, but and fats. We're also taking in the energy of the fruit. And if it's been sitting in a warehouse for weeks, it doesn't have that anymore.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. The energy has been depleted.
Yes.
The not just the energy or the information that's within the fruit or the vegetable, but just its overall essence has been
Right.
depleted, because there's you've taken it out of the sun element now. There's no just like you see on the underbelly of a watermelon, you see the yellow sunspot, because it was allowed to be in the sun. When I
Yeah.
grew spaghetti squash, same thing. We have grapevines. The grapes on real grapevines taste totally different from those seedless grapes that we find in your local
Yes.
grocery store.
That are GMO, by the way.
Yes,
That's another problem.
seedless grapes and seedless
Yeah.
watermelons. I tell people to stay away from them altogether. Um, and because it's that time of the year now, we're getting seeded watermelons now. I just got one of the first ones just about a week ago,
Yes, exactly.
and they are totally different
Yeah.
in not only taste but in texture as well,
Yeah.
both. And they'll give you that energy that we need. So I'm glad you brought that up and clarified that. um, I'm going to go here. I'm going to put this up on the screen because you just kind of alluded to it and you've shown us a few pages. So we have your book here. It's called Your Creator Matrix: How to Use Optimal Wellness and Quantum Healing to Master Your Story and Create Your Reality. So can you, because we've seen the movie The Matrix, and
Yeah.
I've told people, oh yeah, you need to get out of the matrix, all this stuff is happening. And then I tell people that we're creators by nature. So can you explain what it means for all of us to one, be creators, and also what is your definition of a matrix or the matrix as it relates
Great.
to your book?
Great. So a matrix is a structure.
Okay.
And we've lived in an old paradigm for centuries. So NASA even writes about it. If you see Earth and you see it kind of like it flying through space,
Yes.
and it's been kind of for 12,000 years, it's been going through what we call the dark part of the universe. It was very dark, and we were at the very depth of our duality. really experiencing shadow, darkness in all ways. All of our stories were very intense in duality. I mean, we don't have to, we could just watch movies now. And by the
Yeah,
way,
yeah,
the reason we have all this technology now is we're in a new time of awakening. So
yeah,
we just entered a photon belt around 2020. Well, we were approaching it from the 60s, and you could see that. I write that in the book. The 60s was like a big moment when we're starting to approach this new place, this new, like, lighter part in the universe. And we are really going, it's called the Age of Aquarius, but we're really
yes.
going. It's not just voodoo or weird. We really
That's
are,
right.
yeah, we are really scientifically in a lighter place.
Yeah,
And this light is waking up our DNA, is waking us up. And our technology is a reflection of our quickening of consciousness. And consciousness is like your awareness, what you see. And so it's very kind of complicated when I went into the research, but we know we've been living in what we call 3D, three density or three dimension. And by they are different
yeah,
density and dimension. I go into that in the book. But
yeah,
let's just say dimension for this purpose of this, because
yeah,
a dimension is what you can see.
yes.
So we could only see a triangle, 3 dimensions
Hmm.
so far in this darkness that Earth was in. And now suddenly we're going into 4 dimensions, and we're on our way to 5th dimension. So Earth has already gone to 5th dimension. It's changed.
Right.
Earth is a living, I guess I can't say person, but a living thing. It
Yeah,
actually frequency like we
yeah,
do, and it
yes.
has it's quite amazing. So Earth has already made this shift, and we are going to be making it. Humanity is in a change, in a shift of consciousness, a very much quickening. And we have all new children coming on the planet, which we don't understand, and our educational system can't really, it's not helping them that much because we have the old system. So you asked me about a matrix. A matrix in the old way, the reason they said get out of the matrix, they're saying get out of the old way of thinking, get out of the dark duality, get out of the old matrix.
Yeah,
But we're going to have to build a new one.
right.
It's not like
Right.
we're going to have to build new structures for the new earth. And we have a matrix ourselves that we are living in,
Yeah,
are that we can influence. So we are connected, mind. We talked about our mind, the power of the mind. That's part of the matrix. Our thoughts, our emotional body is very much like I always say to my students, can you imagine that if you were on this planet and you didn't have emotions, how horrible that would be?
yeah,
Now, the
yeah.
problem is we get stuck in them, right?
Right.
So we have to learn to experience them, and they're kind of messages, the emotions to how we're doing with our storylines. But we have
Mm-hmm.
to realize as we are creating our reality, and we're starting to realize that now, that um, we are not our story. So in the past, we were having these stories, and we were kind of our story. We took it all. It was so dense. It was so hard to be here because, if you got in a story, you couldn't almost get out of it, right? Like in the past, when you think about, you said it went on from generation to generation, but it was hard when you only lived 30 or 40 years and you had some stories and they were very heavy in the depth of that energy that we were in to work through it all. But now, as you can see, we're going to be living longer and longer. We're getting more and more technology to realize what real wellness is, and
Yeah.
that all parts of us have to be in high frequency for us to live that way. So you asked me, what is your creator matrix and how to use it? It's realizing that you're not just your body. You have an emotional body, you are a soul, you have a spirit, you have a mental body, a mental ability, and you have to learn how all of that works together to create, to be more in aligned and more powerful, because actually we can really influence our reality when all of us, all parts of us, are in alignment. So you
Hmm.
know how, Ken, and we were told when The Secret came, oh, you have to law of attraction, you have to think it. But
Right.
the problem is we were maybe thinking it, but the rest of us wasn't in alignment.
Yeah, that's right.
We didn't create it.
Yeah.
You got to be in total alignment. Your subconscious, your emotional state, you got to have it all the internal work done correctly. You have to have it done. And once that internal part is really in alignment, then you're master, you become a master and you can create, where we're going is to create instantly.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
But there will come a time on this planet, and not very far from now, when people will know they can affect the field, they can connect to the field, they can connect to Mother Earth, and they can use that energy to become even more powerful than what we think AI can do right now, because we have a heart.
Oh gosh, yeah. 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 Again, the living matrix that we are, you
Yes,
know.
that's it. That's beautiful.
I mean, that's what we are, and we collectively we tend to short circuit everything within us with the food that we eat, medication, synthetic medication. We literally short circuit the not only ourselves, but we short circuit the flow of the meridian system,
Yes, so that's the
the
point.
flow of energy that's within us. The meridian system is something that we never hear in the mainstream.
No.
We hear about the digestive system and the skeletal system, the muscular system. Uh, we never hear about the meridian system. Many quote scientists here in America kind of foo-fooed it, didn't even believe
Yes.
that it existed. And now that we know through quantum physics
Physics.
or quantum mechanics,
Yeah.
we know that all of this stuff is within us. We know
Yeah.
this now. There's no disputing it.
Yeah.
There's no
We're
disputing it.
connected. We're all connected.
We're all connected,
Oh, beautiful.
and all of our cells are like miniature versions of ourselves. So
Yeah.
when our cells are sick collectively, then the whole person becomes sick in the process.
Exactly.
Um, so you talked about creation, or what it means to create. Um, Now, the end result of creation is manifesting, and we've I've heard over the years many people say, "Oh yeah, I know how to manifest this, and I know how to manifest that." Um, but very few people understand what it means to truly manifest, whether it's something tangible or whether it's something intangible. Um, what does it mean to manifest, and what is the science behind manifestation?
Yeah. So that's the other thing I was researching for a long time, because it's, we are in, you can't see, the thing is, where we are right now, we one day maybe we'll just be light bodies and it'll be a whole different story. But right
Right.
now we have this kind of heavy carbon based physical structure that's containing our DNA, which is not just in the physical reality, by the way. We know it exists on other dimensions that we can't see.
Mhm.
So we are far more powerful. But the whole thing about manifestation I teach my students is that, first of all, we have to realize that we do impact our reality. And a lot of people realize it, but they don't, that something happens and they get stuck with trauma, or, so something in the process of manifesting, it doesn't go how they want, and they get discouraged, and then they get stuck. Or so I'm going to explain this. We have a
Yeah.
yang
Yeah.
energy. And energies, this whole process of creation is yang and yin. It requires both to be a really strong manifester. So when people constantly manifest and they want to bring new things in their reality, and they never digest what they manifested, then they never learn what they were supposed to learn. So
Mm.
let's say you hear it a lot, right? People get married and then they get divorced and then they get married right away. They
Yeah.
don't digest and they don't think about it, and they just marry this. They attract the exact same problem, and then they, you hear
Right.
about this, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then people get a bigger and bigger stomach because they haven't digested. They're not just digesting food, they're digesting their life story.
Yes.
Digestion is our life story. It's
All
our
those
emotion.
emotions. All those
Yes, it's our
emotions. Yeah.
emotional processing center. So
Yeah.
if we live 80 years or 60 years, and we've been constantly going out there under stress to create this and create that and create this, but we've never digested, then we are becoming sick very fast. And that's a
Mhm.
burnout.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But if
Yeah.
we create something and it doesn't go how we want and we get very disappointed, we have a trauma, we come into yin. We digest. You know, people like this
Yeah.
digest. They're in the past. They live in the past because they never moved on. They never let it go. They never went on. The creative cycle requires that you go through something, you realize you did it, you digest it, and it's I explain a little more details in the book,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
then you let it go, and then you move on again, and you create something else
Yeah.
because then you're very powerful. But when you go and you create something, like let's say you want a new job, and then like that's a good example, right? You get this new job and it really challenges your self-esteem because inside in your subconscious you don't believe in yourself. And so
Mhm.
you created that job to learn to believe in yourself. But
Mhm.
then you leave the job and then you're all sad because it didn't go how you wanted, or you didn't make the money, you didn't make the promotion, or let's say you made the promotion, but you still felt something not right. Then you're like digesting it, but you never get to the self-esteem. You didn't learn.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
what do you think the next job will be?
Mhm. Same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Same
We
thing.
will repeat what we don't learn because we
Yeah.
can't change our frequency. If you think of a chessboard, and you think of all the players, on the chessboard, those are timelines
Mhm.
of creation. So you are a creator. So let's say you're in one position. That's with your creator matrix. It's a certain frequency. And you have certain lessons with that frequency. Well, you can't really change a position on that chessboard till you do the work because Earth
Mhm.
is school. So till you look at yourself, there's no easy fix here. It's
Yeah.
like you need to be willing to look at yourself with love. And when I say love, love means acceptance
Yeah.
because we
Yeah.
are not here. The worst thing is to be judging ourselves, like for those stories. And that's what a lot of people do. They judge that they're bad or they're not good enough and these belief systems, we call them limiting beliefs, they are very strong and they get seeded in the DNA
Yeah.
and the subconscious. And then that's why it goes through the generations, Ken.
Yeah. 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 Being in holistic psychology, I've learned that, you know, the whole the whole premise of life is to learn lessons. I
Yes.
mean, all of us are going to make errors in life. You
Yeah.
you you can't get around it.
No.
you
Oh,
can't get around it. All of us are here to learn lessons. We came here for a purpose, to learn something,
yes.
or to learn whatever your soul path was when you decided to come to this plane called Earth.
Yeah.
Um, why do you believe that? Because going back to the opening clip that I showed of you, um, newness brings anxiety.
Yeah.
You mentioned about people going to finally look at themselves in the mirror. Because I tell my clients of mine that you have to create an entirely new foundation for yourself.
Yeah. That's
You
a new
know,
matrix, by the way, Ken.
yeah, you have to create an entirely, you know, in order to build a house, you have to have a strong foundation
There you
first.
go. There you go.
There's no getting around it.
No, but we
There's no,
try to get around it.
we
So
try, yeah.
what people do is they live in the past because they have not resolved their past and on all levels, like maybe energetically too. Maybe it's just energetically. There's an energetic print on you in your biofield
Yeah.
from your past and you can't let it go. And so you just constantly thinking about it somewhere. And then that is affecting your creations. And when you're in the future and you're always like, oh my God, tomorrow I'm going to fail or it's not going to work. I'm not going to get enough money to make this work. This podcast is no one's going to show up, right? All these thoughts. If we let that happen, we're going to get anxious. So the past makes us depressed. The future makes us anxious. The
Mm,
only really power we have is to live in the present moment. But if you live in the present moment, that means that you are owning your responsibility. You are you are looking at your thoughts. You're debriefing every day. You need to do the spiritual work. I say to everyone, find it yourself. Like, I'm not going to tell I train health coaches all over the world, and I tell my health coaches, you never tell someone what they should do. They have to find it. Like, I found meditation, or someone else finds Tai Chi, or someone finds whatever it is that you're going to find to do that yin work where you're going to digest and release. Like, I give an example to my students. When I took yin yoga once, I didn't even know the power of yoga, actually, years ago. And I went to this yin yoga. I had done like more fast yoga, which I didn't, that was just fun. But I never realized this yin yoga was anything. And I go there and I'm in this position where I'm just bending over. Well, of course, what is this? Your emotional processing center, right? It's all stuck. I'm like swollen here. And I bend over. I'm sitting, because they make you go in these positions, or that you're going, they don't make you, but you go in these positions for like a long time. And suddenly I start crying for nothing. Well, that was stuck.
Yep. Yeah.
So I didn't even realize it, because I'm just going, through my life and busy creating and and then I didn't do the yin work. So some people like I said, some people are afraid to be a creator because they're afraid what will happen. So they're very anxious. And other people are very hard, like it's hard for them to digest and get the lesson. And then others are actually very high conscious. They are aware of this. They might not be able to describe it, but they do take the time. And then they're healthier because they're more balanced.
Right. The balance. One thing I learned over the years was about the teachability index. What is the person's willingness to learn, and also what is their willingness to accept and embrace change?
Yeah.
And change is probably, if not the hardest thing for people to really step up to the plate to do.
Yes.
To look at themselves and I mean, literally looking at themselves in the mirror and say, damn it, I need to change something, because these patterns continue to express themselves in my daily life course. So talk about change. Why is it so hard for people to change, and how can we make it a little easier to embrace change?
Yeah, well, that's really a good question. And by the way, some personality types love change, and they change too much. They're constantly changing, right? People like that. They're always starting something new, and they're never doing anything. So I learned a long time ago, like, no one's the same. We are all different. But there are a lot of people that think, oh my goodness, how do I make these changes that I need to make? They seem so overwhelming. The thing is, neuroscience, that's another science that we're talking about now, is teaching us that the behavior and habit are here. But actually, what is causing them is the belief, the limiting belief, the emotional, low frequency emotional state with that limiting belief, and a certain storyline that we keep telling ourselves. You can say self-talk. So that's the power of coaching, because I think it is really hard sometimes to know those things on our own, because we are, we could talk to a mirror and we could like just talk it out and digest, because actually when we're talking about our life, we're digesting. So the power of a health coach or a wellness coach or lifestyle coach is that they're and if they're good and they're trained at a high level, like our coaches, with like really learning a very high level coaching, then they're taught that the client has to choose everything, like in the end. And all they do is hold a sacred space for that client to talk about and make goals and make action plans for change. And what we find is the hardest thing to do is that first step. Yeah. So in other words, the first thing, like, oh gosh, I'm going to, like, let's just give an example. I want to quit smoking. Let's make it really tangible.
Oh, that's a big one.
Yeah. So for a long time, if they're not ready to quit smoking, the cons are higher, right?
Mm-hmm.
for quitting. Like if you ask somebody to quit and they're not ready to quit, they're going to tell you every reason why they're not going to quit
Mm-hmm.
because they're just thinking of the cons.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the pros have to become stronger than the cons. And that's the change. So the change begins in the mind.
Mm-hmm.
The
Mm-hmm.
behavior will not change until the change has happened in the mind.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that is the free will to say, wow, if I quit smoking, I can see the pros of that. They
Yeah.
outweigh the cons. I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
you start making the effort to do it. But it is really nice to do this with a coach because they're I call them change agents. That's
Change
what
agents.
yeah,
Yeah.
they help people change.
You're right. Yeah. Change agents. And because no client can do this on their own, they can try.
They can try, and maybe they can because we can never say they cannot because the
Yeah.
ultimate
Yeah.
goal is to become your own coach. Like that's the best thing, right? But
Right.
that's your creator. Then when you're your own coach, you are totally in your creatorship.
Right. Right.
So that's
Because
the
the
goal.
right. Because the end result, you want to be in total control and have self mastery.
Yes.
That's the end result, and that's
Yeah.
what I tell all my clients. Because I'm not going to heal you.
No.
I can't do that.
No.
Now I can facilitate some things to
Yes.
you and relay some information to you.
Definitely.
Now whether you choose to apply it or not is a different story.
Yeah.
So if you want that change, then the information that I give to you or suggest to you, then you have to be able to apply it. And you talk about the life story. So many people uh, tell their stories of how they grew up and some of the things that they've been through, knowing how they're going to feel once they tell this story.
Yeah.
So, how can we tell our stories differently so we can start to feel better and also learn from it?
Yeah, and I really believe that reprogramming the subconscious in the future is going to become mainstream. Like we're just at the tip. It's
Yeah.
about to happen. They can't keep it away anymore because it's too obvious. So the
Right, right.
subconscious needs to be reprogrammed. If you have a limiting belief and a low frequency emotion with a storyline in your subconscious running all the time, it's very powerful because it runs in the present moment and you're living in the past and the future. And that is giving all your power away to that specific, your creatorship. You aren't really owning it yet. When you start to realize your subconscious is not healthy,
Yeah.
is not given the best message, and you can reprogram it to get rid of that and really love yourself. And instead of thinking I'm not good enough in the subconscious, I'm amazing, and really believe it. Because how like if you're talking to someone, you can feel what their beliefs are. Like it's weird, right? You
Oh, yeah.
you
Yeah.
you don't have to ask. Why
Mm-hmm.
is that? Because we are all psychic, actually.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
we have a strong intuition, but they can't. When they're living it, they get stuck in it. And that's why sometimes we need a coach for reflection
Yeah.
because we're not
Yeah.
clear.
Yeah.
And to become clear of our limitations and what's holding us back and our blockages is step one. And then reprogramming is step two with our coach or our therapist or whatever. There's so many ways now. And
Mm-hmm.
then once you start really reprogramming, your behavior will start changing. That will have a direct impact
Yeah.
on what happens, what shows up. You'll be at a different point in the chessboard.
Right. Right. And then what happens when the change starts to occur, inside the brain, you have your dendrites. They're like little
Yeah.
arms, and then they,
Yeah.
and they attach. But now when you start to change, those connections start to lose their grip.
Yeah.
They start to lose their grip. And then you start to make changes to do something different. Now, once you start doing the different thing to make
Yeah.
the change, then you start to create new nerve paths that come together in the brain. Because like you said, the inside is like a matrix of,
Yeah.
nerve grooves that we create them,
Yeah. We allow them.
or we allow them to be created through some outside force. But once the change is established for a certain period of time, you'll start to not only notice the changes physically in your or in your outside world, but you'll start to feel it on the
Definitely.
inside. You'll start to feel different about you. You start to feel different about your circumstances. You still might be in the hole, but you'll feel better knowing that you will come out of it once you establish the belief system, or establish a new belief system that
Yes.
I I want this, or I need this. Um, like you said, you want to stop smoking, so you have to establish what are the benefits. What are the
Exactly.
benefits of me stopping smoking? Well, my lungs will start to get a little better. My breathing will start to be a little better. I'll be able to walk for an extra half an hour.
I'll save
Um,
money.
I'll save a few dollars. Yeah, because
Yeah, exactly.
cigarettes are very expensive
Yeah,
today.
exactly.
So all these things that can happen, um, we can take it with the body, which we've been talking about. For someone that wants to become healthy or lose weight or reverse their
Yeah,
diabetic condition, uh, all of that starts with the behavior change in the mind. Because
definitely.
once you start uh, envisioning or having, because we all can create pictures in our mind. So once you start to create a picture and establish it and hold it,
Yes.
um, then again, chemistry begins to release that floods your entire nervous system. And it tells your body, okay, now we know what you want from us now. And then the body will start to act accordingly. And then you'll start to notice that other people around you will start to be different, or
Yes.
you'll see them in a different light. They may not change, but you've changed, and you see people a lot differently, because you've raised your frequency level. You've allowed your light to shine a little bit more, because
Absolutely. And
we're
that's
all light beings.
yeah, and that's called neuroplasticity, like your ability
Yes.
to change those neural circuits,
Hmm.
because we create from those thoughts, right, and those emotions. And so if those neural thoughts are really rigid,
Yeah.
like you only think this one thing all the time, and a lot of people do,
Yep.
then you have not much flexibility to change. That's the difficulty. That is the neuroscience that you just described.
Right. And many people, what you just were alluding to, many people are one dimensional. They only think one way. They're real stiff with their ways of thinking. You know how we say people get stuck in their ways,
Yeah.
and they have no room for any change. This is the way that they are, and this,
So
damn it,
they
this
have
is the
to
way that it's
want
going
to,
to be.
Kevin. Yeah, they have to want to. That's the bottom line. Like
Yeah.
you have to want it. You have to be motivated to change. You have to be
Okay.
motivated to make a difference, to move your chess piece. It
Yeah.
doesn't just move.
Right.
You need to do the work. And that's why your creator matrix is so important, because you can start, like I always say to my health coaches, if your client wants to start with the physical, let them. That's great. But eventually it's going to lead them to the other, because
Hmm.
it's all connected. So
Yep.
you can start anywhere you want. It doesn't matter.
Yep.
Start with observing your thoughts every day. What are you thinking about all day long? Are you worried about your finances all day long? I know people right now with what's going on in the political atmosphere. That's all they're worried about.
Hmm. Hmm.
And they're not thinking about anything else. Well, what do you think they're going to manifest?
Hmm. Yeah.
You think
And
their
and we
stocks
see it.
are going to, yeah,
Yeah.
you think their stocks are going to go up?
Right. That's
No.
right. Yeah. Yeah.
We are impacting this.
Yeah. Well, it's amazing that what the how when you have a quote collective consciousness, what it can create collectively,
Exactly.
what it can create collectively, which tells me that, yeah, we are connected. if
Yeah.
you're on a specific frequency or bandwidth, if you will.
Yes. Yes.
And then you'll think the same way as the people that are so worried about if the prices are going to come down on the food and all this stuff. Now, how are you going to change how you feel about that? Because the worse you start to feel, the worse it's going to become in your circumstances.
Yeah, it's really important. It's so important right now to take a step back, because we have a mission. We have to do the work. We have to realize who we are. We are so powerful. And when we are in our stories, we get stuck in them. So right now, people are very stuck in their stories. And the best thing to do is to take a step back. And Earth is going through the shift, remember? And so we're going to start to see a separation. The people who are starting to be in it's not even a contest. We're all going to get to the end result, by the way. But for a while, we're going to feel this difference. So there's going to be people who are just peaceful. They're really working on their spiritual work. Spiritual intelligence is the new intelligence. So when people are working on their spiritual health, and they're meditating and doing whatever they need to do to keep balanced and in a good frequency, in a happy and joyful state, loving state, the more people that do that, the faster the Earth will make this shift. The more people that stay in the I have to be right, it's my way or the highway, you're wrong. That's duality.
Yeah.
And that is, and I'm stressed, and you have to make your money, and you're taking money away from me. And the more negative they think, the more they're going to create that reality.
Yeah. We are living in duality, and the thoughts of scarcity, not enough.
Exactly.
I mean, how could there not be enough in this giant planet that we live on? And then we've been convinced that there's not enough.
Yeah.
Exactly. But that's how powerful influence is.
Yes.
That's how powerful influence is. And when it comes to influence, it's amazing because, here right now, the big buzzword is about mental health. And, we have all these different diagnoses now.
Yes.
Social anxiety disorder, borderline personality disorder, bipolar 1, bipolar 2, ADHD, all these different labels for specific behaviors or behavior patterns. And the moment we get stuck with these labels, again, it creates a chemistry. And then we believe that this label belongs to us. When you meet certain people, they're, hi, nice to meet you. My name is such and such. Oh yeah, I was diagnosed with bipolar 2 years ago.
Yeah, be careful what you own.
Right.
Because you create from that. So I told my mother when she had an alcohol problem, never say you're an alcoholic.
Yeah.
You just have a problem with alcohol.
Mm-hmm.
Because, you are not an alcoholic. You are a source. You are a beautiful soul that's just having a story. Remember I said, we have to realize we're not our stories.
Yes.
Well, when we label ourselves, we become the story.
Right.
So we need to think health, wellness, love. What do we want?
Mm-hmm.
We certainly don't. Do we? I think humans really do want that, but they don't know how to get there.
Yeah.
We're going to learn how to get there now, because believe me, even AI is catching up, and AI can help us. It doesn't have to be our foe. It's there to help us. We shouldn't become AI. We are not AI, but we can use AI to grow and learn.
Yeah.
And I think it's going to become a really interesting 10 years ahead of us.
Yeah. Some people are using artificial intelligence for a number of things. I knew this was coming maybe 15 years ago. I saw a documentary, a 3-part documentary called Zeitgeist, where they were talking about all this stuff back in the early 2000s.
Yeah.
So it's not like we didn't know that it was coming.
No.
The only thing is that we being that the creators that we are, we create the intelligence.
Yes.
We create the artificial intelligence. We program the computer. We program the interface, you know? So because the brain is our biological computer. It's
Yes.
ours. We program it. We input information and data
Definitely.
just like a computer.
Absolutely.
And it gives
That's
out
true.
frequencies and all of that stuff. We emit
Yeah, we're a
frequencies, we receive
transmitter.
frequencies.
We are, yeah,
Yes,
we're a radio station, you could say.
that's right. Yeah, we're like the cell phone towers, only that we're
Yes,
like a million times more powerful than the closest
definitely.
or the furthest cell phone tower. That's how
Absolutely.
powerful the human brain is. But like you said, we need to learn that. Many of us don't have no earthly clue how powerful the human brain is. So again, when we get when we have these labels attached to us, the mental health labels and physical things too, heart
Of course,
disease,
everything,
cancer, whatever it
any
is,
label.
any
And by the
label.
way, labels go with medicine.
Right.
So we have it in our mind. So
Yes.
that is also a programming we have to get out of. And it
Yes.
doesn't mean you never need a medicine. Look, I'm a nurse, so I think sometimes you do, but
Yeah.
not how we're using them. Because basically
Right.
we get a disease, and the first thing we think is take a medicine. And
Yeah.
the medicine does not get rid of it, the root cause. The medicine literally treats the symptoms, but you still have the problem because you never dealt with the stress or whatever caused the initial imbalance. Remember,
Yeah.
we talked about yin yang. You
Yeah.
never dealt with that. You never digested your story. You didn't do that. You just took a pill.
Right. Right.
So you
Which
didn't get into balance.
Right. Which suppresses all those emotions that you've had building up for 10, 15, 20 years. For some people since childhood that
Yeah, it
they've been,
doesn't help you adapt, no.
yeah.
And the mental issues, like, we're just, like, realizing that more and more people have them. They were a taboo for years. Like, that's what I said. The mental part of the hospital was weird, and nobody wanted to go there and
Right.
freak people out,
Right.
and believe me, I worked in that place. And
Yeah.
then people they didn't understand that we were living in duality and what that meant, and we weren't trained that we all have a dark side. We all have a shadow side. We have lived in this duality. We have
Mhm.
played the dark. We have played the bad guy and played the good guy and and now, we have this thing in our brain called mirror neurons.
Mhm.
So we have now the ability by watching a show to have the story and learn the lesson. Like, we
Mhm.
don't have to have all the stories anymore. You see what I mean? In the old days,
Yeah.
you just had one story and died.
Yeah.
Now you can, like, watch 20 movies and you've already learned all those lessons because
Right.
a mirror neuron says you've actually experienced it. Like,
Mhm.
you've been there.
Yeah.
And so that's why we have what we have right now with the movie industry and stuff. It's not all bad. We can say it's bad. There are some dark things about it for sure, but it
Yeah.
also helps us to face our darkness, to go above duality means to love all parts of ourselves.
Yeah.
And to really love all parts of ourselves, we need to be integrated, which means this creator matrix needs to not have blockages everywhere. And that's the thing. When you have a mental illness or you have any illness, you're disconnected
Yeah.
somewhat because of the blockages.
Because of the blockages.
Yeah.
Well, that's why they call it dis-ease. There's a there's a disharmony.
Yes.
You know, there's like you said, there's the alignment isn't there. The
No.
alignment isn't there. It's kind of off a little bit. It's just like the analogy I like to use is, many people take care of their cars better than they take care of themselves.
Oh yeah.
And so when
or their pets, which I do think is nice, but
I've mentioned that 1,000 times. People take care of their pets and their cars better than they take care of themselves.
Yeah.
So when you have something wrong with your car, you take it to the shop right away.
Yep.
To get the alignment done, to get the tune up, to get the oil
to get
changed.
to the root cause.
Yes. But when it comes to us, when we have these signals called symptoms, they're like fire alarms going off in our
they're
body.
screaming to us. They're screaming for attention.
Like, yeah, we need some help over here. You know,
Exactly.
we need some help, you
Yeah.
know. So that leads me to a wellness revolution. So because I was looking at the website, you have a lot of information on there for incoming students. What is a wellness revolution, and why did you decide to create it?
Yeah, well, I think we're in a time of change. Revolution is change. That's what it means. And I think we need to change to the idea that we want to create a wellness. We want to be
Hmm.
well-being. We need to think differently. And
Yeah.
so we need a change in our thoughts. And so I
Hmm.
created it to help bring forth new information, like new sciences. I teach, I train twice, 2 cohorts a year, and certify with the national board and the ICF, so they get the highest certifications in coaching if that's what they want to do. But I also will teach a new course on self-healing in the future, and there's a lot that we're giving free to the public. So,
Mm.
I think it's really important. That's why I wrote the book, because I felt like it would help a lot of people to
Yeah.
do more, to understand. Now, I say it is a lot of information in the book. So what's really good to do with this book is just see what attracts you, like, and
Yeah.
open to the page, and you don't have to go in sequence. Like, you can just open, like if you
Skip
want to
around.
open, yeah, and then you read a little and then you take it in. Like, if you're not really into science, it's okay.
Yeah.
But if you are, you're going to love, most of the people who love science love the book. But I think
Absolutely.
also, even if you're not, if you're into just growing and understanding why we're here, and it's all, yeah, we are here. We are very important. This
Yeah.
whole thing that we're doing and being here on earth is really fortunate. Many souls perhaps couldn't even be here right now.
And I saw when I was looking at your website, uh, you have a pretty vast staff of people
Oh yeah.
coming from all different backgrounds and uh, modalities. So when people come to a wellness revolution, they'll know. And this is global. I know it's based in the Netherlands,
Definitely.
but anyone
We have
around the world can attend.
Oh, definitely. We have half of our students are US students because of the national
Got
board.
it.
The national
Got
board
it.
is the highest body of certification for coaching all over the world. And like, what's so nice is once you graduate, you can get your national board or your ICF, but national board will allow you to work with functional medicine doctors in hospitals, really to be part of the change. This is a big time.
Right.
The medical
Yeah. Yeah.
system is changing.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
And I
So
think, yeah,
go ahead. Go ahead.
I just think being trained holistically gives you an advantage to where we're going. It's very
Yeah.
exciting. It's
It
really,
is exciting. It is exciting, which is the reason why I went into holistic psychology as opposed
yeah,
to standard clinical psychology or clinical
yeah,
psychiatry. I learned about health and wellness and the brain and just life in general from a very different perspective, and it's taught me a lot about it's taught me a lot about how we're taught
yeah,
about the human body um, and all the things that we're not taught. Here in America and many other countries as well. They for generations they've told us, if you have a disease, there's no cure for it.
yeah.
You're gonna have it forever, and you're gonna have to be on these medications for the rest of your life.
That's programming, isn't it? That's really powerful.
Right. It is powerful.
That's
It is
not what you.
powerful. And we tend to lose our power the moment that we're told that information, that there
Oh
is
yeah,
no cure for anything. So, and I've done these on some of my solo shows about how we've been thoroughly conditioned to believe that our bodies are weak and incapable of anything.
Yeah. Well, then we create that.
Anything.
Then we create that. See, that's the
Yeah.
thing. Thoughts are powerful. They create our reality. So we
Mhm.
allow that then. So we have to start to decipher what thoughts are we going to allow? Like, what thoughts are we? I always say, is this thought from me or is
Right.
this thought coming from someone else? If
Mhm.
this thought is coming from someone else, then do I really want to think this?
Yeah.
Is this in alignment with my true being? And if
Mhm.
everybody starts doing that, our society will change very quickly because then we are not programmable.
Mm. Mhm.
Really, we become much stronger.
Yeah. Yeah, we do. And then in the process of that, we start to take our power back
Yes.
to its rightful place,
Yeah.
instead of giving our power away, because we see the physician, they have the white coat on with the stethoscope.
Yeah.
And again, for generations, we've been taught to believe that everything that they tell us is golden,
Well,
while
it's
we
not.
while we see our loved ones over and over and over again have to go through all these different treatments and tests and test after test and more blood work, more urine work, more blood work, MRIs, you name it, brain scans, all of
Yeah.
these things.
And they're
When
very scary in a way. It's
Yes,
kind of very, we need, the kind of place we need, the new systems that are coming are more loving, are
yeah,
more
yeah,
are more like caring.
hmm,
Like I would like to see more clinics really looking at us and saying, okay, how can we detoxify you? How can we do this gently?
hmm,
How can we help you to take care of your thoughts? We can teach meditation. We can teach all these kind of ways of balancing our body, mind, spirit, and complex. So I believe in the future, we're going to have a lot more holistic centers where people go to be well, and the system will pay for us to be well
mm.
because actually the system owes us this because
Yeah, right.
no, because it was held back for 100 years the wrong way. It out of money and greed.
Yeah, yeah. The old Rockefeller Foundation,
Yeah, and we
take
know
literally
what.
taking over. Matter of fact,
Yes,
I'm here in Los Angeles, and Dr. Royal Rife had a clinic in Los Angeles. Matter of
and
fact,
I talk about him in the book.
right when we were really starting to learn about holistic health, and he was healing people with frequencies.
Exactly, almost over, like almost 100 years ago. So
Yes.
I actually talk about him and Dr. Hulda Clark and
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
how the medical system came to a point where they had to decide which way to go between that and antibiotics, and they chose antibiotics because it was cheaper and easier, but it wasn't necessarily without problems, right? And
Hmm.
that's the thing. Now we see how important our microbiome is and how antibiotics are not always helping us. Sometimes we need them, but we've overused them. And so what we've done is we've had a medical system that was really based on chemistry.
Yeah,
And we need to make the shift to quantum physics because actually the creator matrix, we have to treat the whole.
yeah.
Everyone has to be more holistically trained. And then we can really help people heal themselves.
Yeah, that is true. And as we get ready to wrap up, in medical school, and I've interviewed so many physicians over the years that came from the allopathic way of teaching
Yeah.
and then transitioned over to more holistic or what they call integrative practices. Um, they all say the same thing, that when they were in medical school, they got less than 5% of teaching when it comes to nutrition and wellness.
Yeah.
Everything was
I
about the
got
medic.
nothing as a nurse. I mean, there was
Okay,
yeah,
see,
Georgetown, nothing.
right, prestigious Georgetown.
I got a lot of pharmacy.
Yeah, check that out. And so, uh, not having been taught about nutrition has been like a curse for the general public, because
Yes.
you know, when you have again, I'll just go back to diabetes because it's one of the more common ailments right now. You know, when you tell people, oh, it's because of all the stuff you've been eating, you know, what we call the standard American diet, and then possibly not having enough love in your life from family and things like that. You know, when you're feeling sour, you want something sweet. So diabetes, eat a nice dark green salad or something like that. Many physicians, and this is just from what I've been told over the years,
Yeah.
many times that's not even recommended. It's a
I know.
synthetic insulin shot that's suggested
I know.
more than the food.
I lived it. I know. I even had a doctor tell me I had a stomach problem once, a whole gut problem. I had Giardia, and then I had probably not enough good bacteria, but they didn't even know about that then. And the doctor, I said, "Do you think I should change my diet?" He said, "Oh no, this is genetic."
Right.
And now we
Yeah.
know that's not true. So that was
Yes.
really told to me. And look what I
Yeah.
want to show you, Ken. Look how pretty. This is the new earth.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
Light. Yeah, going through the
Yeah.
isn't that
Yeah. Yeah. The closer we get to that, the better we'll start to feel. Um, just for the sake of some quick solutions, because you know we're both of us are kind of big on nutrition.
yeah,
What do you suggest? Just some simple things. What do you suggest that we can do right now to just to keep ourselves physically up to par, and
yeah,
then some simple things that we can do to keep ourselves mentally up to par?
great. Well, I think one thing you can do is in the mornings, you can drink a little bit of apple cider vinegar, like a teaspoon in water.
Yeah.
Or you can, if you don't like that because that's kind of bitter, you can take
Oh yeah.
celery and ginger and cucumber, and you can juice it.
Yeah.
And this can help clean your liver. It can help clean your whole system. And if you do that for a number of weeks, you'll start to feel lighter. You can start to cut out a lot of the bad sugars.
Mm.
We don't need them really. You know,
Mm-hmm.
you can do I always say to my clients, an 80-20 rule, right? Like
Yeah.
once in
Yeah.
a while
Yeah.
you have a drink or you do something fun, but not every day. So
Of
what
course.
you do
Yeah.
80% of the time really matters.
Yes.
I think another thing you can cut out is the modern gluten. I don't think it's healthy. I've done a lot of research on it. It's altered. Our bodies don't recognize it. And most people are having a lot of trouble digesting it. And it's causing what we call leaky gut in the gut. So that is
Yep.
another thing.
Yeah.
If people are having gut problems, they should see a functional medicine doctor. And that is really where the world's going. And they're starting to come up with microbiome clinics to find out, because it's bio individual, your microbiome, your good bacteria
Yeah.
versus your bad bacteria. And I say it like that because we are in duality on every level, even
Right.
but you want to have more positive there too,
Okay.
which is
Yeah.
more light, right?
Yeah.
And so when you get like a bacteria in your gut, or you eat the wrong foods, or you do a lot of that for a long time, maybe a lot of alcohol, and also the stress causes the microbiome to turn the other way, where it's more dark. It has more, like, let's say, bacteria that's not healthy. So
Mm-hmm.
when people are having that situation, they should go to a functional medicine doctor and or a naturopath, and get their stool checked, and they can make a probiotic just for them.
Mm-hmm.
That's amazing, right?
Mm-hmm. It is amazing.
So we're going there. That's the gut is your health.
Yeah, gut health is important. Gut health is important, and because a lot of people don't really realize this, but you know, when we look at the small and
Sorry. Oh my
no, no,
God.
no, 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 you're good. You're good.
Forget about that. Gut health.
Yeah, you know, when things go down the wrong way, you get that.
No, it's okay.
But when it comes to gut health, a lot of people don't realize that your small and large intestine is like our second brain. You have
Yes.
your solar plexus, which is like a matrix of nerves, right below your belly button.
Yes.
Some people call it the third chakra. But gut health is important because, again, the the gut brain connection. A lot of people don't really put the two together.
No.
How healthy your gut is will many times determine how healthy your brain is
Yeah.
up here.
So your good bacteria make your neurotransmitters.
Mm,
They are that's so weird. We used to think if we were depressed, it was all our thoughts. That's
mhm,
not true.
yeah.
We were depressed. A lot of times it was our guts that
Mhm,
where we had too many bad bacteria and we weren't producing enough neurotransmitters
mhm,
like serotonin and dopamine, and they make our brain connect. They make
mhm,
us be able to feel happy and feel blessed and feel good. And so you are right. I'm sorry, you
mhm,
are correct. This is a direct connection between our gut and our health, our mental health. It
mhm,
is not a joke. We
yeah,
need to get our gut right.
yeah, yeah,
We
yeah,
cannot underestimate this.
yeah.
Like all the effects of the toxins and the bad foods. And I always say to my students, don't get depressed because it is kind of overwhelming. Like, where do I start?
Yeah,
Just start somewhere.
yeah, yeah,
You don't need to do
yeah,
it all today.
yeah, yeah. And it doesn't matter where you start because it's
No,
all going to come full circle anyway. you know?
exactly. You just have to start. You just have to say, tomorrow I'm going to do that. Yeah, apple cider vinegar or whatever. Or tomorrow I'm going to observe my thoughts.
Hmm.
And I'm gonna really write it down at the end of the day, or I'm gonna wake up in the morning, and we talk about like writing down what comes, when you wake
Yeah,
up.
yeah, yeah.
Just it's kind of like it's called morning pages, but it's sort of a debrief.
Hmm.
You're very when you wake up from your sleep, you've had dreams and you've had all information, and it's if you write it down, you get information and you can kind of digest that in
Hmm.
that way.
Yeah,
So that's a good
yeah,
thing to do.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Gut health is important. When I tell people about antibiotics, everything is in the name, you know,
Yeah.
antibiotics or anti-life as opposed to
Yeah,
probiotic.
that's so true.
you know so again, everything is right there, it's in plain view, but because we haven't gotten the correct information, we kind of overlook these small things that can make a huge difference.
Yes.
These small things that can make a huge difference.
So don't lose hope. Just start.
Yeah. Yeah,
Just
just start
start
somewhere.
or get a health coach, or do something like you really want to make these changes. Do try a functional medicine doctor. I mean, these are really good things to try.
Hmm. Hmm.
Try some
Yeah,
of the therapy too, like energetic healing, like you mentioned.
yeah,
I also have a YouTube channel where literally I interview people since 2020 who are bringing new technologies to the field of health and wellness. They're bringing their new ways of thinking or their old ways, like even Ayurvedic. I interviewed an Ayurvedic doctor. So there's so many ways you can find healing today.
yeah,
Just start.
yeah, yeah, yeah. There's so many options
Mhm.
offered today as opposed to 25 years ago.
Absolutely.
So there's it's almost like there's no excuse now. We
Well,
can
you have
either,
to be willing. You have that change thing is there.
of course, yeah, yeah, you have to be willing.
Yeah.
As long as we know that there are other options out there versus the standard that we've been kind of conformed to turn to when we have health challenges or health issues,
Yes.
physical or mental or emotional, you
Yeah,
know.
that's right,
So
Ken.
there's always options. Um, so as we wrap up, Kathleen, I just want to thank you for taking the time out to come on the Kinetic Hour. There's so much more that we can go into, especially when it comes to food and nutrition and how food really makes a huge difference in not only our physical body but our emotional and mental body as well, and
Absolutely.
spiritual body as well. Um, Tell the people how they can find you.
Yeah, so if they're interested, and we have webinars just to explain our coaching program, that we have two cohorts a year, one that's in September and they graduate in February, and one that starts in March and they graduate in August.
Mm,
They can just go to a Wellness Revolution and sign up for one of those webinars. Um, we also, they can buy my book. They can watch out for my new course that's coming in the fall on
mhm,
self-healing, which I think will be very powerful for the people to
mm.
really get those ideas that you're asking for right now for people to heal themselves.
Got it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I did look at your YouTube channel. You have a lot of great things on there and great guests. And as far as your course is concerned, you're going to be speaking as well on karmic consciousness. Can you real quick just kind of give a quick overview of what
Yes.
karmic consciousness is?
Yeah. So like we have, you mentioned on our DNA that we carry from lifetime, generation to generation, information and also belief systems. I mean, we carry everything on there. We carry storylines.
Yeah.
If we have had in our background, like I know I had, and I tell that story, lifetimes where I was, you know, yeah, I was probably not a witch, but I had some power,
Mm.
I was using like herbs or something. I don't know. I
Yeah.
had these kind of lifetimes where I wasn't accepted because they were scared of all those energetic ways of healing at that time. So that's in the DNA that comes down, and the fears with it.
Mm.
So, but that's one thing. And then you also have parallel lives. This is a
Yeah.
very
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
this is a very complicated thing.
Yeah.
So we don't have past lives.
Yeah.
Everything's existing. Quantum physics is telling us that if we've had other lives, they are existing right now.
Mhm.
So we are
Mhm.
just right now presently in this life, but we
Right.
are influenced by those other lives. So if things were unresolved, which many lives were unresolved issues, that's karma. Karma is unresolved issues that
Mhm.
need to be resolved. You don't necessarily have to remember everything that happened, but you
Right.
have to resolve the fear. So if
Mhm.
anyone's listening and they have a fear that they think, where did this fear come? I never had anything with this, and I just am afraid of this.
Mhm.
That's karma.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
that should work, because the opposite of fear is love, and we need to be more in love, the
Yeah.
state of love. That's the goal. So if we
Yeah.
have a lot of fear, that's what we have to work on.
Right. Yeah, we have to work on that so we can kind of burn off some of this karmic energy
Yeah, but
through
we all
through.
have it. We all
Yeah,
have it.
absolutely.
This is our work right now, because we were in the dark having all those stories, and
Mhm.
we didn't have the time to process all this. And so karma is just unprocessed, unresolved energy that needs to be let go of.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not serving us anymore. Those limiting beliefs, those fears, those, we are not our story, but we had them, and then we got very attached to them.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, so attached that it kind of takes us backwards instead of
Yeah.
forward, you
Yeah,
know.
but we're gonna get better. Like, we're really, the humanity is ready. We
Yeah.
wanna get rid of this stuff now. We wanna know who we are.
Yeah.
And the
Yeah.
and the ascension that we're in, this change, is not like the fall of the old. Yeah, okay, the old's falling and the new's coming. But what it is, it's knowing who you are.
Mhm.
Who
Mhm.
am I? I'm you. That we're connected and that we're amazing.
Yeah.
That's important.
Yeah. Yeah. The amazing part is that we are amazing.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Life is amazing. Matter of fact, final question for you, and I like to ask all my guests this question. What does life mean to you?
Yeah. Well, life is connection and being, and we're all, let's say, from source originally. I believe that. And we're all appendages of source, experiencing our creative power in different ways. So we're all unique.
Mm,
So I love getting to know different creators because it's inspirational to see how people choose to use their creative power. And I think connecting to that is exciting right now. So
yeah.
seeing that that's what life is. Life is connection and being here. And sometimes we have to pinch ourselves and remember how amazing it is that we're here.
Yeah. Yeah. It is. Yeah. Life is definitely the journey, not the destination.
No, exactly.
And it's a eternal journey.
Yes,
It's an eternal journey
that's right.
that we're all a part of. And where we go after this, we might go on to another planet somewhere in some other dimension. You know,
Probably we have.
and we
But
probably have.
yeah, but we just didn't remember. But that's because we agreed to this little experiment of duality where we would come into it. We would come from maybe a big consciousness to a small consciousness in a body, having a temporary experience to, because when we did this in this duality, it did give us something. It gave us this in depth that we couldn't get when we just were in the big picture. So we can't underestimate how beautiful the whole experience has been.
Hmm. Hmm. Yes, I agree 100%. And thank you for that. Once again, I just want to thank you for coming on the show and gracing the stage with
Thank
me
you.
here on the Kinetic Hour. I'm going to put this up one more time so the people can see. Uh, get her book. It's called Your Creator Matrix: How to Use Optimal Wellness and Quantum Healing to Master Your Story and Create Your Reality. Kathleen Beerkens with a wellness revolution. With a
Thank
wellness
you.
revolution. Come back to the Kinetic Hour in the future because there's so many other questions that I want to ask. We didn't even get in. We didn't even get into the definitions of quantum mechanics and quantum
Yes.
physics and nutrition. Uh, we can go on for another
I
hour.
would, I would love it, Jen. I would love it to come back, and I want to thank you for having me.
Yeah,
You're
absolutely.
really lovely and a very lovely soul. Thank you for being on Earth and doing your work.
Thank you for that. And to everyone listening and watching, uh, check out Kathleen. Go to a Wellness Revolution if you want to become a student. And check out her YouTube channel as well. There's a lot of great guests on her channel as well. And to everyone watching right here, subscribe to my YouTube channel, which is KENNETIC. There's 1,000 podcasts that you can be listening to. So thank you for tuning in to the Kinetic Hour. Thank you to everybody listening and watching. Thank you to Kathleen once again. And until next time.